The Mixed Martial Arts Hour is back in your life on this Monday, August 16, 2021. Hello again, everyone. How you doing? Welcome back. It has been a while. It has been a really long time since I've sat in this chair. In fact, it has been over 3 years since I sat in this chair, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to discuss. We got a lot to catch up on. There's a lot on my mind. There's a lot I want to get off my chest. Oh my gosh. I am so happy to be here. I can't properly describe just how happy I am to be here. It makes me emotional on two fronts. It makes me emotional because, like I said, it's been 3.5 years or so since I sat in this chair, June of 2018. So a little less than 3.5 years, if I'm being honest. I sat in this chair, crying, saying goodbye, signing off for what I thought was the last time, telling you all about my grand plans and all that stuff. And my mom told me a very long time ago, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans for the future. And so somewhere up above, I do believe there was someone laughing at me at that point. They were saying, you're going to be back here very soon. And what a journey it has been to get back here. But I can't tell you how happy I am to be home. This feels like home. This feels like my house. Heck, a lot of these things were in my house for the past 3 years. And, there's that saying, you can go home again. You can go home again. You really can. And so I have so much that I want to say, so much that I want to talk about, so much that I want to share with all of you, and so much that I want to talk to our guests about as well. I am so grateful. I'm so thankful to all of you, the fans, who are supporting me in this new chapter, who have supported me from day one, 2007, when I was a very, very shy, anxious person just trying to live out this dream, supported me every step of the way through the ups and through the downs, and supported me when I went to ESPN through the ups and through the downs, and then supported me in this new chapter. And the reaction that you all gave me, the reception that you all gave me, the excitement that you showed me when we announced that the MMA Hour was finally going to be back in your life on August 16th, today of 2021, warmed my heart more than you know. Because I was wondering, did you guys want the show back? Is this what you wanted? Because make no mistake about it, as I've said many times before, I believe that I work for all of you. I've said that because you have had my back. You've saved my career at times. You know what I'm talking about. And so when I think about what I want to do, when I think about how I want to live out my days as a professional, I think about what do the fans want from me. And so here I am doing the show that I know you wanted and the show that I wanted back in my life at this place, this particular place, not just this physical room, but this company, Vox Media, who has had my back for over 10 years now, since I started working with them in early 2011. I first met with the leaders here at the time of Vox Media, Jim Bankoff and Kevin Laughlin, in a Washington, D.C. hotel lobby prior to the Demetrius Johnson versus Dominic Cruz fight. Remember that on Versus? And they were selling me on the idea of coming to Vox after they were in talks to purchase MMAfighting.com from AOL. There's a rich history here. Shout out to Ray Hoy, who started this site many moons ago from Chicago, and then AOL took it over, and then SB Nation/Vox Media took it over, and they were selling me. And everything they said to me over the preceding 8 or so years came true and then some. Had my back. I always use that phrase. Had my back, always had my back. Supported me. In 2016, UFC 199, come back to the studio on that Monday. The CEO of the company, the freaking CEO of the company, Jim Bankoff, is sitting in my studio, lives in Washington, sitting in our New York studio up on Bryant Park and saying, whatever you need, we got your back. When we wanted to launch the MMAJA, a lot of people don't know, Vox Media helped us get it off the ground. They wanted to help us. They support journalism. They support independent voices. They support what we believe in. That meant the world. And even when I left, there was support. And there was the whisper that, hey, if you ever want to come back, you can come back. And that always stayed in the back of my mind because not a lot of people would say that. And so that meant a lot to me. And to be honest, we designed this studio in 2016 going on to 17. Look at this place. I would put this studio up with every damn studio up against any single studio in this space. I'm not just talking about MMA. Give me sports. Give me TV, for God's sakes. I'll put this studio up with these little things, with all this personality, this is MMA history right here. There isn't an MMA Hall of Fame, but I could damn well say that there's a piece of MMA all over this studio. And I only got to sit here for a year. It started right after Maymac was announced, and then I left a year later. I only got to sit here for a year. I felt like I didn't get to I built a house. I didn't physically build it. A lot of great people did, but I helped design it, and I didn't get to actually live in the house. And that always stuck in the back of my mind as well. I love this studio. There's something about it that is just absolutely magical to me. And so around, last summer, as these things go, you start to think about what's next. You sign a 3-year contract, you start to think about what's next. And I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. I wasn't really sure where I'd go, what I would do. Stay, leave, who knows? And, to me, this is all about a new beginning. I know it's an old show coming back, if you will. And I know everyone loves Helwani, and I know everyone loves independent Ariel and all that stuff. I'm not looking to cause any fights. I'm not looking to burn any bridges. I'm not looking to make enemies. I have a lot of friends who still work at ESPN. I have no hard feelings towards anyone there. Honestly, in my heart right now, I'm speaking to you heart to heart, person to person. There's nothing else going on. There's no bells and whistles here. This is a shoot, brother. A lot of them reached out to me today, and that meant a lot. I'm very proud of what we did in 3 years. Truth be told, I didn't think I'd make it 3 years. And so that's why it was important for me to do as much as possible there. E60, outside the lines, NBA. It was great. I got to climb that mountain, and then I looked around, and I was like, I'd like to climb something else now. And so when I was starting to think about what would be next for me, I started to talk to a lot of people. And every person that I talked to about doing this show, bringing this kind of show back, the interview show, the show of record, the show of shows, every Monday, all that stuff, live. Every time I spoke to people, I kept thinking to myself, you know what I'm really doing here? I'm really just trying to recreate the MMA Hour. I'm asking them about studios. I'm asking them about crew. I'm asking them about cameras. I'm asking them about audio. I'm asking them about all this stuff. And then I'm like, I'm just trying to recreate my old show. Why don't I go back to my old show? I had this epiphany. I remember where I was. I had this epiphany. Why don't I go back to my old home? I didn't know what had happened to this place. It had been a couple of years. I didn't know if I didn't even know if the studio was still around. The world has changed a lot. Lo and behold, I reached out and I said, I want to come back. And the reception was great. Open arms, excitement. And when I said I wanted to come back, obviously you want to come back better than ever. You want to come back with a fresh, perspective, all that stuff. But one thing I wanted to do was I didn't just want to be on Mondays anymore. I don't want to just be on once a week. I want to be on twice a week. I want to be on Mondays and Wednesdays, live, 2 to 3 hours, multiple guests. I don't want to have to load up one show for 5 hours and then you don't hear from me for a week in this type of setting. So that's what we're going to do. I'm so excited about this. This is the closest thing I've had to a daily show. Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. GMT. Right here, YouTube, MMA Fighting. Wednesday, same time. I already have Wednesday show booked. I'm not going to tell you, but I already have it booked with big names. So you get a couple days to finish this, and then Wednesday, you get another live show. You get a couple days. You could go back. This is great. Doesn't have to be all jam-packed. Monday, we look back. Wednesday, we look ahead, and a bunch of other stuff in between, and they were receptive to that idea as well. And I didn't want to change too much. I wanted the studio to be as it was. Little refreshing of the logo. Thank you so much to everyone involved in that process. a little, new trinkets here or there. But I wanted this place back. I wanted to be sitting here doing the same type of show with longer interviews, with access to the biggest names in this sport. Because I think this is, if I could just say, not just big for me, but it's big for the sport as well, for the fighters to have this platform. Uncensored, unfiltered. No one's cutting anything out. No one's telling you what to say beforehand. No one's telling you not to say certain things beforehand or afterwards. None of that. None of that is happening. Completely independent, completely unfiltered, completely uncensored. Use any phrase you want in that world. This is the place. Dare I say, maybe the only place. And so that's big for the fighters. It's big for the sport. Lord knows there's a lot going on in this sport right now that needs to be talked about in an unfiltered way. I would argue it's one of the best times in the history of the sport right now, with the UFC on ESPN and how mainstream it's getting, and with the gambling stuff, and with Bellator on Showtime, and with PFL on ESPN. Going to be interesting to see what happens with them next year, with that deal up as well, with One Championship doing its thing, with Turner, Ryzen doing its thing. You got Cage Warriors expanding. KSW doing their thing. I could go. You got the YouTubers fighting. You got Tyron Woodley fighting. This is a very exciting time to be in the MMA world. And honestly, I see a lot of other people popping up with these digital shows. Some of the old guard doing the digital shows, right? The YouTube shows. Now doing, shows like ours. I felt like we were before our time. And so I needed to come back and remind people, we've been doing this since 2009. Since the AOL days, this type of show on YouTube. Uncensored, unfiltered, no commercial breaks. I wanted to come back and do this. I wanted to sit in this chair. And so I am so happy to be here. And I got to tell you, and so that's part of the reason why I'm emotional, because I'm back home, because I've been given this opportunity to do this show again with great people behind the scenes, the way I want to do it, talk to people the way I want to talk to them. But the other reason why I'm emotional being here today is because, and I know you're going to make jokes about me being emotional. Guess what? I'm still the same guy. In fact, I'm probably more emotional now that I've become a little bit old. I'm almost 40 years old, for God's sakes. I haven't been in a studio since March 9 of 2020. I've been to 3 NBA games, dream come true. I haven't done a show like this in a studio since March 9, 2020. Jay Park, remember him? The Brian Ortega Korean zombie thing? That was one of the guests on the show. That's how long ago. It was right after the Yoel Romero Israel Adesanya fight. Note the pronunciation. Adesanya. I haven't been in a studio. I'm tired of doing things in a spare bedroom. I'm tired of doing things on Zoom. I'm in a studio doing a show like a professional. I said goodbye to my kids and my wife today, and I said, I'm going to work. And I'm going to park my car in a parking garage, and I'm going to walk here wearing a mask, and damn proud of it. And so I'm so happy to be doing that as well. What a show we have lined up for all of you today. And again, I didn't want to just load the deck today because we got big names coming on Wednesday. Don't forget, Mondays and Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern. 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. GMT. You can watch us live on YouTube. You can get us afterwards. Apple Podcast, the feed is up already. Spotify, the feed is up already. All those other places where you get podcasts. Coming up at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. El Diamante, Dustin Poirier, the man who defeated Conor McGregor for the second straight time this year. The man who at the end of the year just might be the 2021 male fighter of the year. If he gets that title fight against Charles Oliveira, he might get the belt, he might win, and then win the award as well. What a run for him. He'll be our first guest at 1:30. At 2 o'clock, I needed to have my old friend back. Rampage, Quinton Jackson, the legend. Is he fighting Shannon Briggs in a boxing match? What's going on here? We haven't seen him since December of 2019. What's going on with old Rampage Jackson? He'll join us at 2 o'clock. And then what about at 2:30? We couldn't have the new era. We couldn't have the return of the MMA Hour, the first show of this new chapter, without the first ever guest in the history of this program. Also was on the last ever show, the great California kid himself, the California dad himself, the one and only Uriah Faber, the legend. 2 legends in that hour. Very exciting. And then what about at 3 o'clock? You talk about uncensored. You talk about unfiltered. Darren Till. The pride of Liverpool. The crazy man. Am I worried he's not going to show up? Of course I'm worried. Have I been an anxious person over the past 48 hours? Of course I've been. But he gave me his word. Darren Till, 3 o'clock. Of course, September 4th, rapidly approaching. Derek Brunson fight, big time fight at 185 pounds. And then we round things out with the last style bender himself, the reigning, defending UFC middleweight champion, the one and only Israel Adesanya. And I got to be honest, he's a great fighter. He's one of the pound for pound kings. He's slowly but surely on his way to being one of the greatest UFC champions of all time. But the real reason why I wanted to have Israel Adesanya on this show is so I can say his name the way it's supposed to be said. And that's Israel Adesanya. And if that bothers you, get used to it, because that's the way I'm saying it. Adesanya. Yeah, it sounds great. Oh, man. A nice little 5-pack. So that's kind of how it's going to roll. 4 to 5 guests each show. End of the week, 8 to 10, 2 to 3 hours, depending. In-studio guests are back. You got Skype. Zoom wasn't a thing the last time I was doing this show. It is a thing now. And so that's very exciting. And, a few other things that I want to say, a few other things that I want to get off my chest before we get rolling into the show. I want to thank the team here at MMA Fighting, who for the past 3 years have been grinding, killing it. There was this narrative, when I left and other people left, oh, MMA Fighting no more. MMA Fighting was never no more. MMA Fighting was never going away. They've got a fantastic team. They've developed some great young journalists. They brought in some new faces. There's some old faces that are still there. I'm afraid to say everyone's name because I don't want to leave anyone out, but you know who the faces are. You know who the people are. They've done an amazing team, and they've welcomed me back with open arms. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm supremely grateful for that. I love everything that they're doing on the site, on the written side of things. I wanted to be a part of a team. I wanted to be a part of a group, a collective group. When we were in our prime, I think in 2017 or so, I always compared us to the Golden State Warriors. I felt like we all supported each other. We all had our roles. We were in our lanes. We were doing our thing. There was so much camaraderie. It was so much fun to be a part of this collective unit that was all striving for the same thing in the same way, moving in the right direction, the same direction. And they have that. Different faces, but they have that still. And so I am so happy that they have accepted me, that they've welcomed me back, and have helped support this show, this endeavor, which has been around now since 2009. I'm very, very excited about that. I do want to mention a couple people that aren't here, if I can. This show, the history of the show, whenever this show is being discussed, and I believe it is the show of record. I believe that it is the show that has done a lot for this sport and this fighter, and not fighters, and not because of me, but because of the platform and the ability that they've given us here, and the resources in the studio. This show isn't this show. It isn't the MMA Hour. It is, and people used to come. I remember a few weeks after I started ESPN, I saw Conor McGregor at a hotel in New York, and he said to me, "What happened to the MMA Hour?" And that was like 2 weeks after I left. I was like, "Oh, it changed. I'm doing the similar show, this and that." Till this day, like till last month, people were like, MMA Hour. They used to call the show there, Ariel Helwani's MMA show, MMA Hour. Like for some reason, it just fits. So that's why I didn't want to change or anything like that. And I'm thankful for that. But a huge part of this show was my main man, New York Rick, who's no longer here. He's doing great stuff with ESPN. I love him dearly. He's kind of a quasi, like he'll always going to be a part of it. He's my friend for life. I do want to shout him out because people keep asking me about him. I love that guy like a brother, and he's doing incredible. I always told him he was going to outlast me there because he's just so damn good at his job with the accounts over there. So I do want to shout him out because this show isn't this show without him. I want to shout out 2 other people who obviously I'm not with, and you keep asking me about it, and this is the way I am. I tell it to you like it is. I tell it to you from the heart. I have to shout out my guy, Chael Sonnen, because we did that show, Ariel and the Bad Guy, there for 3 years. That was the first thing that we did going into that place. And Chael is such a great friend, always had my back. And I love doing that show with him. And his new show is going to be great as well. He is a superstar. He doesn't need me. He is an absolute superstar. But I want to mention one thing about Chael, so you know what kind of person Chael Sonnen is. Last show that I did on site was the 248 show, Israel Adesanya against Yoel Romero. And I'm not going to get into all this nonsense now, and maybe over time these things will come up. But let's just say, I wasn't exactly welcome with open arms at the event. Life was made difficult. Difficult like you wouldn't believe. And I didn't have the same freedom to do stuff. And I'm talking about just like going places, backstage and whatnot. Talked a little bit about this on Bellator. Anyway, it kind of reached a boiling point, if you will, back then. Dissipated over time, but at this event, it kind of reached a boiling point for a very stupid reason. In any event, we're being dropped off at the event, and everyone's in the van. And I'm told that I can't go with everyone. I can't walk where everyone walks. I can't go in the same door that everyone goes in. Why? Don't ask me. Nonsense. So everyone gets out of the car, as they should. This is their stop. I'm going to go some backdoor way or whatever, just to get to the rafters to do my show. Everyone gets out, as they should. One person doesn't get out, and that's Chael Sonnen. And they're like, Chael, this is where we're getting out. He said, nope, I'm going where he goes. I'm walking in with Ariel. And I hope he doesn't mind if I say that, but that blew me away. That's Chael Sonnen. He said, I'm going with him. That's all you need to know about that guy. Solid as a rock. Had my back. Friend for life. He doesn't need me. The other guy, of course, and you could see Chael and why it was important for me to have him right over here. If we could show this camera shot right over there. There he is. There's the bad guy. He'll always be here. He'll always be by my side. And his toys somewhere. We got the toys over there. He's right there. You see him. And then, of course, the other guy is my main man, DC, that you see right over there. Right? Right over here. You see him over my my right shoulder. Show this camera right over here. There it is. There he is, the man himself, Daniel Cormier, who I said is going to be over my shoulder until we meet again. I love this guy. We talk 3 hours a day, every day. And even when it seemed like the end was coming, he had my back and was supportive and no hard feelings. Make no mistake about it. I hope his show succeeds. I'm not here to go to war with my buddies. Absolutely not. So support their show, support our show. This man, you know about what he's done for me. You know about the bond that we have. 199 calling me, saying that he was going to have my back, tweeting. Like, he doesn't have to do the things that he does for me. And what was so special for me over the last year and a half was pandemic hits. I don't know what to do. And there's DC not getting paid, doing the show every single week with me. And the best things that I heard over the past few months was, you gave us an escape. You gave us an outlet. You and DC, cracking jokes, talking, Dahlia, all that stuff. And I wouldn't have wanted to do it every Monday with anyone else. And so I love that man. I love him for being such a great friend, and I wish him the best. And one day we will all reunite, all three of those people that I just mentioned. And so at the very, very end of it all, when I started to decide where I want to go next, and by the way, I want to just say to all of you out there who are listening, as we're approaching Dustin Poirier joining us, and sorry for going long here, but I felt like there were a few things that I wanted to address. I just wanted to be happy. I just wanted to work with people that made me happy, and I wanted to be happy doing my work. And you know how I came to that conclusion? Not ashamed to say it. I was going to go to Milwaukee. I did go to Milwaukee to do a basketball game. It was the Bucks and the Pacers. And I had one of the worst anxiety attacks that I've ever had. I was so nervous to get out of the comfort zone because I'd been at home. It's a real thing that a lot of people are going through. I know this. And I just felt weird about leaving my family. I felt guilty. I felt anxious. Not getting into the whole vaccine stuff. I felt uneasy. And so finally I decided, for the first time in my life, the first serious time in my life, I said, you know what? I'm going to talk to someone. I'm going to talk to a therapist. And I don't think that I get back here. I don't think I get to the other places that I'm at as well without her help. Talking every week, talking it out, figuring out, talking about some of the old stuff. And so if you are out there struggling, feeling down, feeling confused, feeling anxious, feeling uneasy, if you haven't reached out to someone, it doesn't have to be a therapist, it could be a friend, could be a parent, could be a brother, a sister, a spouse. It could be a dog. Matcha has helped me out tremendously. I've grown a lot over the last 3 years. I have a dog now. And I love her more than myself. We cuddle together. It's fantastic. Reach out to someone, talk it out. You'll be amazed how good you'll feel afterwards. And I just, from February to March to April to May, I just felt like the clouds were opening up for me. I felt like I could see things more clearly. I could be happier. I wasn't holding grudges. I didn't have hate in my heart. I just felt better about everything. And I don't think that I get there without the help of a professional. But it doesn't have to be a professional, if I'm being honest. And so I just wanted to get that off my chest as well. I'm so thankful for the last 3 years. And then I'm thankful that I was able to get back here and do this show for all of you. And I'm ready to get rolling now because, like I said, there is so much going on in the world of MMA. Funny that we start this on a Monday where, let's be honest, pretty quiet weekend. We did have the 2 shows, PFL, Bellator going head to head. Shout out to Gegard Mousasi on Friday, defending his title successfully against John Salter. Up next for him, no more Mr. Van Zandt. Austin Vanderford deserves to have his name said the right way. And by the way, he was always down with me calling him Mr. Van Zandt, if I'm being honest. But, I feel like he has earned that respect. Mousasi successfully defended the title. Over in Bellator, in PFL, you had Rory McDonald losing to Ray Cooper in the semifinals of the welterweight tournament, leading to a bit of speculation as to what he has left in the tank. But it was a fun night, but there was no UFC. UFC back this weekend. In fact, there's a ton going on this week. PFL on Friday with the return of Kayla Harrison. Bellator back. PFL back on Thursday. Bellator back on Friday. If you're into pro wrestling, I think someone's coming back on Friday as well. I've heard about some guy who might be the best in the world coming back. You got SummerSlam on Saturday in Vegas. I'll be there. You also have UFC back with Cannonier and Gaslam. There is so much going on. There has never been a better time, in my opinion, to do a show like this, to be back home, comfortable in my skin, being able to say what I want to whomever I want with all of you by my side every Monday and Wednesday. And so without further ado, let me stop rambling. Let me stop ranting. Let me stop getting all emotional on all you guys. And let's start getting to the fighters because that's what this show has always been all about.